I was kind of at this point of like, I can either coast and kind of not really take any more big swings for the Laravel community, or I can try out kind of going bigger and better and building kind of more ambitious stuff. I think some people think it's like almost selling out to take the VC, but people have stuck around with Laravel for 10 years. They deserve Laravel to go big or go home, go hard, really swing for something. And I felt like that was what they deserved. I put out Laravel in 2011, and I really made no money from the framework, which is like fine. I didn't expect to make money because it was like an open source project, but I had no way to like sustainably work on it full time. But in late 2014, I started building a product called Laravel Forge, which was basically, it's like a server management platform for Laravel apps. So like you connect your DigitalOcean or your AWS account, it creates servers and installs PHP, MySQL, it deploys your app. And then when you like push to GitHub, it deploys it. You know, it's like a little
So it's like a CI/CD pipeline type thing.
Yeah. And I mainly built it for myself because I was like creating servers all the time to test stuff, configuring them. And I got tired of like manually configuring Nginx all the time. And I kind of needed like the full server control. So I couldn't really go to like Heroku or anything like that. So I put a dashboard in front of all these scripts and kind of built my first product. And like, you know, this is going to be the first commercial product I ever release in the Laravel world. And I honestly had no idea how it was going to go and, or if anyone would use it. And then like I launched it in the summer of 2014. And I think within a few months, I'd kind of like replaced my regular job salary from the product after like 8 weeks of it being out. And so now I was like, oh, you know, now I've got like customer support on my product, but I've also got like a real job. My boss at the time was like, you know, Laravel is basically too big for you to work here and do Laravel. So you kind of need to like go out on your own, kind of like nudged me out the door, you might say.
Right.
And so like January 1st, 2015 was my first day waking up. Okay, I work on Laravel full time now. I have a business, I have a company. And it was just me for a few more years before I hired my first employee. But yeah, that's how it kind of got started and then went on to build other products. I can't say that I had any grand plan or master vision of how that was going to work. I did not know if Laravel Forge was going to be successful, but thankfully it was. And that's what kind of like funded the beginning of the entire ecosystem and allowed me to kind of build out the rest of it.
And that was something you didn't even plan on monetizing like as a primary product. It was just something that you were like, hey, this is really frustrating. Let me fix this.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's like kind of the story of my entire Laravel journey is like moving from one personal pain point to the next and solving it. And sometimes charging money for it, sometimes giving it away as an open source package. It's like a bit of a mix of things. You know, I think we've created like 25 or 30 open source packages at this point at Laravel, you know, kind of across the ecosystem. And we have maybe 6 or 7 commercial things that people can pay for. So it's been a mix, but all of them have been like this common thread of, hey, this sucks about development and trying to fix it and then, you know, putting it out there. But it's been very like personally motivated, you know, of like my personal frustrations with everything that happens in my dev career.
That's a good founding for a product where it's like, I'm going to work really hard on this because I just want it to work. If somebody else buys it and uses it, great, that's fine. But I just want it because I need this to exist and work in my own personal life. So
everything I built this way, and I honestly don't really know how or feel comfortable building things any other way because like I can't really ship with like confidence unless I am like a really primary user of this tool and like I have the problem myself. Otherwise, I hate this feeling of like building in a vacuum where I'm sort of like guessing at what the best solution might be, but I'm not actually someone that has the problem myself. I find that like a very weird place to be in as a dev. So I've always tried to tackle things where like I was like user number one, you know, and had the most confidence on how to build it.
Yeah, this is incredible. But yeah, talking of Laravel is eventually becoming this huge thing. You have your community. You're very much on the heartbeat of what goes in and out of the framework.
Mm-hmm.
And you and Laravel raised rounds at the beginning of last year. I think it was 57 million with Accel. And I'm really curious, how's your experience been so far over the past 2 years, you know, building a business out of this?
Honestly, it's been great. Like it's been a new challenge. And to give some background on the deal, like Accel was emailing me maybe throughout a lot of 2023. And I was like just deleting their emails. Like I told them this later, but like I didn't really know, like I'm not in San Francisco. didn't really have my finger on the pulse of like VC firms or who was good or who was bad or like what was whatever. And so like when the emails would come in from various VC firms, I was just like deleting them because I already had a company. We were making good money. Everyone was happy. And, why complicate things, basically. I kind of reached this interesting point in my career near the end of 2023 where I felt like I kind of built everything that I ever wanted to build or had the idea to build at that point. And the only other ideas I had were just like too ambitious, really, and too scary for me to take on by myself. They would either require a lot more like infrastructure spending or hiring or monetary risk, of like building these things out that I just really wasn't comfortable taking on my own. And Accel came to Laracon in person in Portugal. And I kind of feel bad because the guy whose name's Peter comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I'm Peter from Accel. We're really stoked about the Laravel community. We think it's like really unique how passionate people are about Laravel, and we find that really interesting. Like, we'd love to talk to you." And it's basically like a handshake. And I'm like, "Okay, nice to meet you, pleasantries," and we go our separate ways. And I feel bad that he flew all the way to Portugal for essentially like a 3-minute conversation. But it did actually start like our real kind of back and forth between me and Accel, which ultimately did lead to us landing on a deal that made sense for both of us, that we announced early last year, with basically the intention of building Laravel Cloud, Laravel Nightwatch, some of these things we've released since that, like I said, we had to make much more bigger investments in infrastructure in terms of like spend commitments, hiring, all of that stuff just to build out those platforms because they're just so much bigger and kind of more complicated than anything we've built before. But were something I think the Laravel community like deserves. And I was kind of at this point of like, I can either coast and kind of not really take any more big swings for the Laravel community, or I can try out, kind of going bigger and better and building kind of more ambitious stuff. And I almost felt like, I think some people think it's like almost selling out to take the VC, but I almost saw it as selling out the other way because I was like going to be coasting and just sort of like, I'm living my nice life coasting and not really building anything ambitious for Laravel. And I saw that as a disservice to the community rather than build Laravel Cloud, build Laravel Nightwatch. They're big risks, they're big swings, but like people have stuck around with Laravel for 10 years and like they deserve Laravel to like go big or go home and like go hard, or really swing for something. And I felt like that was what they deserved. And I think, the challenge since has been, as we grow Laravel, we were talking about before the show, like maintaining the community feel of the framework, of the ecosystem, of the conferences, so that it feels like Laravel. It doesn't feel like we've changed our DNA or identity since raising money.